It's time again. Time to get up to date on some recent lesson topics. Hi there, everyone. I'm Jeff. JR is the producer, and you are listening to Plain English, where we help you upgrade your English with stories about current events and trending topics. And twice a year, we revisit some recent episode topics to get the very latest. This is lesson number 618, so you can find the transcript at plainenglish.com/618. These are always long episodes, so let's get going. In lesson 594, we talked about Threads, the Instagram adjacent app released by Meta. The idea was to challenge the site formerly known as Twitter. More on that in a minute. Threads rocketed to popularity, earning over 100 million downloads in the first few days. But users got in there and found that it was a lot like Twitter, only with fewer features. Although users were quick to download the app, they were not quick to return and use it regularly. Meta hasn't rolled out promised features like hashtags and search, scheduled posts, things like that, and we're now several months in. It looks like they didn't take advantage of their early momentum. And their inaction makes me wonder whether they really do want this project to succeed. Speaking of apps that rocketed to success, the initial hype over ChatGPT is settling down. We talked about ChatGPT in lesson 574 and lesson 575. And we even did a free mini course about it. When it first came out, people got in there, used it a lot, asked it a lot of fun stuff, and started to think about how to use it in their daily lives. The answer for a lot of people is that ChatGPT is a fun tool, but not an essential one. But ChatGPT is just a simplified window into the artificial intelligence engine called GPT. Businesses, on the other hand, are diving into the GPT engine to improve their own internal processes. And this is where the biggest impact will be felt. The consumer-driven hype is dying down, but the business impact will be real, saving time and effort and improving quality. Even if it's not grabbing headlines like it once was, ChatGPT and the engine behind it are changing business. The social media site formerly known as Twitter, which you heard about in lesson 468, Twitter, or now X, has stabilized itself. After laying off almost half of the staff and making arbitrary policy and product changes, new owner Elon Musk has hired an outside CEO. The company's new name is X. Musk's vision is to turn X, into an everything app that combines shopping, payments, messaging, video calls, even investing and banking all in one app. Such apps are common in Asia. WeChat is the most popular, but it's not clear if Western consumers will take to a WeChat-style everything app. In Lesson 590, you heard about Evgeny Prigozhin, the leader of the Wagner Group, a private army in Russia. He led a mutiny against Russia's army in June. At the last minute, he agreed to stop the mutiny and leave the country. Prigozhin was killed in August in dramatic fashion. His private plane fell out of the sky and crashed in a fiery ball halfway between Moscow and St. Petersburg. Most analysts have concluded that this was ordered by the Russian government. And the Russian government hasn't done anything to contradict the rumors. The only wonder is why it took so long. After being exiled in Belarus, Prigozhin was quickly back into his jet-setting routine, bouncing around Africa and Russia. This was perplexing. He was asking for trouble, and he got it. Hey, what's the fastest growing economy in the world? If you listened to Lesson 247 back in 2020, you might have correctly guessed Guyana. Guyana is a small South American country that discovered a massive oil deposit off its northern coast. The country signed a contract with ExxonMobil to bring the oil to market. The Guyanese government, through 2 consecutive administrations, appears to be respecting contracts and preparing to manage the country's newfound wealth responsibly. Just 800,000 people live in Guyana, and their fortunes may be about to change for the better. In Lesson 338, you heard about the bizarre roller coaster that was the stock of GameStop, a video game retailer in America. It turned out to be the first of many so-called meme stocks where social media frenzy would drive up the price of a stock. A movie about GameStop was released in September. It's called Dumb Money. In Lesson 566, you heard that Donald Trump was indicted for falsifying business records. It was the first time a former American president was indicted. At the time, I said that was the weakest of all the potential criminal cases against him. I still think that, but those potential cases have become real cases. He was subsequently indicted in a federal court for trying to overthrow the 2020 presidential election and in a Georgia state court for similar crimes. His calendar is quickly filling up with trial dates as judges try to slot their trials without interfering with others. If he wins the Republican Party's nomination, as seems likely, he'll be running for president even as he stands trial in at least 2 jurisdictions. That's not all the legal trouble he's in. To take just one example, New York State recently revoked the business license of his real estate empire putting his marquee buildings in jeopardy. Oddly, none of this appears to be hurting his popularity with his supporters. In case you're wondering, an American president has the power to pardon anyone convicted of federal or national crimes, but none has ever pardoned himself. But the president's pardon is not valid for state crimes, so Trump couldn't pardon himself if convicted on the state charges in Georgia or New York. In 586, I told you about the morning show on Apple TV. Season 3 is out now. I'm currently watching it. Speaking of streaming, Netflix's policy on password sharing appears to be working. We talked about that in lesson 548. In the months after they cracked down on people sharing passwords, they saw a spike in active users. Disney Plus was so impressed, they've started doing the same thing. I love these update episodes. The only problem is I can't put all the updates I want in the episodes. So when there's news about a topic we've talked about here, I'll put the update in the emails that JR sends out on Mondays and Thursdays. If you're not getting those, make sure to sign up at plainenglish.com/mail, MAIL. It's Monday, so I have a quote of the week for you. Home is not where you were born. Home is where all your attempts to escape cease. That's from Naguib Mahfouz, an Egyptian writer. Cease means stop. So Naguib Mahfouz says that home is not that place, or home is that place you stop trying to escape from. Home is that place you stop trying to escape from. Here's the full quote one more time. Home is not where you were born. Home is where all your attempts to escape cease. The phrasal verb settle down has a few meanings, but we'll talk about just one of them today. And that is to become calm or stable after a period of excitement. So if you want to use settle down, you need to talk about something that is changing quickly, something in a state of excitement, something agitated, things like that. And then that thing later becomes calm and quiet. The part where it becomes calm and quiet after a period of excitement, that's settling down. ChatGPT made quite a splash when it was first released just under a year ago. It became the fastest technology in history to reach 100 million users. It seemed to be all over the news. We did 2 episodes about it, followed by a mini course that hundreds of Plain English listeners took. People thought ChatGPT would revolutionize the economy, steal their jobs, take over the world. There would be no need to write essays or do research or produce any original content, ChatGPT would just do it all for us. I even had a customer, a Plain English Plus member, tell me that my job was in danger of being taken by ChatGPT. Well, the hype over ChatGPT has started to settle down. Yes, it can produce a lot of text, but that text is not always correct or even helpful, as many listeners learned in our free course. It was fun to ask ChatGPT to write a song in the style of Shakespeare, but how often do you really need to do that? So the initial hype over ChatGPT has started to settle down. It hasn't gone away, I want to make that clear, but it's no longer dominating the headlines like it once was. Its user activity is lower now, but stable. People are getting used to how they'll use ChatGPT and how they won't use it. I think we're finding that ChatGPT won't revolutionize most things, but it will make improvements to them. It might not steal your job, but it can save you time at your job. What's another thing that seemed agitated or volatile? How about inflation? Inflation was high, and central banks around the world raised interest rates to combat inflation. So these economic measures, inflation and interest rates, were in a period of excitement. Do you remember how fast prices were going up? 7, 8, 9, almost 10%. And that was in stable economies like the US and the UK. Then central banks started raising interest rates. The Federal Reserve raised interest rates in America faster than at any time in recent history. Eventually, inflation did start to settle down. It hasn't gone away, but now inflation in many places is down to 3 or 4%. But inflation is not rising and it's not as high as it once was, so we can say that inflation has started to settle down. People can settle down. Let's start with kids. Kids might be outside, running around with their friends, yelling, screaming, throwing things, as kids do when they're outside. But when they come inside, they have to settle down. They have to lower the energy level in the house. Remember, to settle down is to become calm or stable after a period of excitement. So when kids come in off the soccer field, they need to settle down before coming into the house. But kids are not the only people who may need to settle down. Two adults might get into an argument. Tempers might flare. Voices might be raised. There might be some strong opinions expressed. And the adults might recognize that they need to settle down after having an argument. They need to lower the temperature, be calm again. Or your period of excitement might not be an argument, just an exciting day. Have you ever had a really full day at work, with family, with friends, whatever? Just a lot going on that day, high energy, whatever. It's hard to walk in the door of your house after a high-energy day and then go straight to bed and go to sleep. It's a good idea to settle down for a while before trying to sleep. So let's say you have a long day at work, you come home, make dinner for the whole family, get the kids in bed, and you're tired, but the excitement of the day has just ended. You need to settle down before going to sleep yourself. And that's all for today's Plain English for Monday, October 23rd, 2023. Remember, get all the updates from Plain English, including chances to take quizzes and learn even more English words with JR's emails. Get those by visiting plainenglish.com/mail. On Thursday, we'll be back with a brand new topic. Just wait until you hear what type of business is embracing surge pricing. That's on Thursday. See you then.